Hey, hope you are doing good out there. Thanks for coming back to my channel. My name is Henry Harrison as of now. I hope you're doing well. Got this good moment here. We can try to talk about this week of astrology, so we're going to try to do that. I can't say I've really looked at this week yet, but we're just going to see what the moon is doing, and that's kind of what I like to do, and I hope it helps you too. Okay, so just to let you know, I'm feeling pretty tired right now. This is the chart for this moment. Been a pretty tumultuous past few days. It was kind of hard to get through, but I feel like it was, all the things kind of coming for me in my personal life. Everything really came together, even though it was kind of trudging through it day by day, and I think we're really through that in a big way. So we'll try to talk about this week here. All right, you see, I've got Black Moon Lilith on the chart today. I've just been looking at that transits to that point more than I have. Okay, we'll start on Sunday. So we come to Sunday with the Mercury Cazimi on Saturday. Mercury is becoming a evening star, so Mercury is hidden behind the beams. Mercury is very close to the sun this week, moving ahead from the sun. So things really are pushing ahead to new horizons in a way with Mercury things. But on Sunday, all we have is the moon conjoining Uranus, making a square to Mars applying. So Sunday looks, energetic. It looks, with the moon in Taurus, probably we're a little antsy, wanting to do something different. It doesn't really look, it's not really being too afflicted. The moon is really applying to Mars. It's really the next aspect. So honestly, I don't really think this moon in Taurus transit will be all that. Probably not super enjoyable with Venus at the last few degrees of Aquarius. I don't know. I think it will be kind of nice and probably kind of refreshing in a way. But the moon is applying to Mars, so there will be this kind of heat and antisocial stuff going on there. But the moon will be so on Monday. The moon immediately hits that square to those three planets. Really Mars and Saturn first, and then towards the evening you've got Mars squaring Venus, and you got the Mars Saturn conjunction here. So for the day chart people, Mars has been causing you problems. You've been trying to push ahead or being irritated as you've been pushing ahead. But we're coming up to a conjunction with Saturn. So that has to come to a halt, or to be a slower process. Or I was considering it might actually, with the day chart people, they might actually like this a bit more, to kind of have Mars really reined in by Saturn, kind of held in check there, in view of the more longer term stuff. So I don't know how negative it will be. Probably pretty darn negative in some ways, but I don't know. I don't really know enough about my conjunctions to really tell you that. But it will be kind of hot, kind of not feeling great. But as we go through the rest of the day on Monday, so that's really Sunday. I think you really feel that more towards the evening on Sunday. Things kind of feeling a little bit like they want to unhinge with the Mars Uranus contact, doing something a little bit different. But throughout the rest of the day, the moon is applying a square to Venus. So Monday night looks okay, except for the Mars Saturn kind of quandary. It's kind of pretty mixed there, isn't it? But the moon will be moving into Gemini on Monday night, and I wish to thank God for wisdom and understanding, that I can understand this mystery to His glory in Jesus' name. Amen. Sorry. Don't want to forget to do that. Oh, glory to God, by the way. I got better. I didn't actually get pneumonia. If you saw, I was kind of implying that. I was like going in that direction with the symptomatic side of things, but I didn't actually get hospitalized. I didn't really have pneumonia. And I actually got a lot better pretty quickly. Thank God. But yeah, so the moon will be in Gemini when Venus moves into Pisces. So the moon will not make an aspect to Venus, but will be, zodiacally being squared by everything in Pisces, which is nice. And I think, that overcoming energy will be really strong. So the moon is making an aspect to every planet again, because we have these three pileups in these three adjacent signs. The moon is going to have to be working with a lot there, and with the ruler of the moon moving past the sun in Aries, ruled by Mars conjunct Saturn. I think we're really having to focus on, it's the time to really do the things that are long-term focused, communicating about things that are long-term focused, that are related to what we can do very quickly right now. With all this placements in Aries, we're really grabbing life by the horns and making what we can of the moment. But it has this more long-term focus with, everything going back to Saturn here. So, in a way, it has its good, it has its bad. I think it will work better than the Taurus moon did, which maybe is more fixed on doing what it wants to do, with the moon being there with the North Node. I think the situations we find ourselves in with the moon in Gemini will be very changeable, very, very mixed, and having this very heavy Mars, Saturn, Mercury overtone. But with the moon there and having the Venus and Jupiter squaring it by sign, and the moon also going to be applying to Jupiter, it feels wholesome too. I think that we're integrating a lot of different things. A lot of things are coming together that have been brewing, that have been, shall we say, building up for a while. So the moon will be pretty much just in Gemini. The next visible planet we have is Chiron, and then sextile to the Sun and Mercury. So it really leans heavily into the Mercurial and the Aries stuff here, the solary things, especially the light from the moon being taken from the sun and connecting that to the light on Mercury. So new breakthroughs, new insights, moving ahead with things changing, and with Venus here being in a good way, we do have the power and the faith and the trust that we need to move ahead with these very grand possibilities, these very great and very real things that are going on. So the moon will be in Gemini And that's really the aspect for that day. As we get into Wednesday, I guess we've been talking about Wednesday. When we finish up Wednesday, the moon will be making a trine to Saturn, making a square to Jupiter, making a square to Neptune, and making a trine to Mars. So it's interesting that because Mars has advanced beyond Saturn, the last aspect we get with the moon is to Mars here instead of Saturn. So we were having last couple months, I think, of moon contacts to Saturn and Neptune, but now we have this heavy martial element that's really in the mix there with the Neptune stuff. So the moon or Mars must be in a semi-sextile to Neptune. So there's an extra added edge at the end of the day here, with the moon being ruled by Saturn and Mars and being a very easy outlet to them. Hopefully Jupiter is adding a sort of mollifying and long-term hopeful kind of attitude to things. But it is a lot, and I think we do go through a lot potentially. You can go through a lot even without a lot going on with the moon, really, depending on your own chart. But I think collectively we're all really changing. Things are really transforming when you have all these contacts with the moon to all the other planets here. A lot of light is getting sent through the moon to the mundane situations, if you will. So on Thursday, Mercury will make a sextile to Saturn and move into Cancer, and then the Mars will square the north and the south node. So this is at the south bending. It's the place where the moon is at. When it's there, it's at the lowest point below the ecliptic. It's not that Mars is at its lowest point below the ecliptic. I can show you that, because I think this is an important thing to know. Mars is, not even particularly that far below the ecliptic. But, if the moon was here, that is always the lowest point. That's mathematically where it would be. So we got Mars here with Saturn. So in a way is a low where we're going to be building up. I wonder if Mars significators will kind of feel a little deflated, or maybe, I don't know if it's deflated, but maybe, they've been structuralized, they've been institutionalized with Mars or with Saturn in Aquarius. Things according with the structure in terms of our actions, and maybe for the day chart people like reining in the bad impulses there. But that definitely is a strong. It feels very strong. Mars will be with the North Node in Uranus very soon, and then that'll be in August, and then Mars will be in Gemini for like 6 or 7 months after that. 5, 6, 7, not sure. So it's very, very pivotal. Feels very serious with Saturn and Mars, both the square to the North Node, but more on that to come. But on Thursday, the 7th, Mercury will be sextiling Saturn in the morning. So I really like that. I like seeing Mercury in a good configuration with Saturn for communicating and doing business that accords with the time and the structure, and with a long-term view. But the moon will also be void, and the Mars will be squaring the North Node. So it's going on anyway. I think it's a good thing. I think to be at the time to be in process with these business activities, with a view towards very soon Mercury will be retrograde. Yep. And so on Thursday, with the moon in Cancer, We're applying a trine to Venus in Pisces. So as soon as the moon goes into Cancer on 7th at 10 a.m. here in America, in Chicago time zone, the moon will be in a trine to Venus. So Venus is getting this overcoming trine. It's in aversion to Mars and Saturn. It is squaring Chiron and the Sun as its next aspect, but I think it does. This is and Mars is at that square, but then there's an element where it's very very nice. There's a definitive hope, a definitive future plan that we're aware of with the Mercury Saturn stuff, and also the hopeful element is there with Venus showing that we've gone through this process, and now there's something new here, a new development for some people, but it could feel really good. It could feel I'm expecting it to kind of feel like, finally, I don't know. I think everyone will be feeling it, and we'll all be very happy and grateful for that. So as the moon goes through Cancer, it will be squaring Chiron. Mercury sextiles Mars. So Mercury is leaving the sextile to Saturn and applying the sextile to Mars, and Mercury is in this rulership with Mercury or Saturn and Mars. Not sure about that one. I think it's working well. Mercury is combust of the Sun, but still direct, very fast. Mercury will be free from the beams of the Sun in a few days, so maybe the Mercury things aren't really seen, but they're really going on, and we're taking action. We're taking structured action there with that. So the moon is in Cancer, making a square to the Sun, I believe. Well, before that, the moon makes a sextile to Uranus. So probably the first part of the day, it's a Chiron square. It feels good, but there's also like a deep, woundedness there with all of that. But doing something else, I think we can be allowing things to be coming about for a good degree of change here, with all these moon contacts to Uranus in a way that's helpful. The moon not aspecting Saturn or Mars. Kind of like things are going on in the background with nothing with the moon happening. I'm not sure there's much going on Friday, but on Saturday the moon will make a trine to Jupiter and Neptune and make a square to Mercury in Aries, opposition to Pluto in Capricorn. So I think the first part of the day probably feels pretty good with both Venus and Jupiter in Pisces, and the moon connecting to that, and it's having a sublime sense about yourself, I think, is possible. A sublime sense of faith and charity, even if it's not, charity starts at the heart, and it's a matter of fact, and then the everything else that goes along with that will happen. So being that comes from being grateful, and in my experience, if you know God and you're connected to God through his Son Jesus, you have a good understanding. So it can all flow very well, I think, but the moon will be connected to Mercury by a square and opposing Pluto. So we've got all of a sudden these themes about business transactions and also the wealthy members of this world that we live with, the wealthy. So the moon is this day, it's making a square to the sun and Pluto, and I think the sun and Pluto and Mercury, in a way, like they all represent different facets of wealth and business. So we're definitely dealing with that on Saturday on some level. These themes of business, transactions, wealth, the wealthy, things like that. But the moon will go into Leo, and that's it. So next week, Mercury goes into Taurus after squaring Pluto, and Mercury-Jupiter, or Jupiter-Neptune actually, Black Moon Lilith goes into Cancer. Mars goes into Pisces. Full moon next week. A lot of stuff happening next week. I think we're really just kind of doing what we can. I think overall this week is very geared toward doing what you can, taking what actions that you can, seeing that what you're doing accords with like the right idea of things, not wasting your energy. Maybe you do a lot of different attempts, a lot of different tries, but some of them stick, and I think it helps you accord with all the Mercury, Saturn, Mars stuff. It's very like trying something, doing a lot of different tries, a lot of different things, learning by what you're doing, and having that learning be motivated by both Mars and Saturn, which will look different for the day people and the night people. Honestly, I don't understand you night people. I'm just kidding. But you know what I'm saying. It's learning about sect has really made me wonder a lot about what that's like. I know someone who has a Virgo rising in a night chart and a similar chart to me in other ways, and very different ways of going about life, for various reasons. Let's see. So yeah, we get Venus and Pisces this week. And we get Mars Saturn this week. So hang in there. Hang in there. I think with the moon waxing this whole week, we're really building something. I think we lay a certain groundwork down with what we do the first part of this week, and has long-term consequences with Mars and Saturn both being at the south node. I think we already saw that last week with Venus. At the south bending, Venus being at the south bending. It has a sense that these are very pivotal. I meant to say pivotal, but I guess you could say pivotable choices we have to make about what we're building towards, kind of what we're coming out of the mire of, and what we're going to do with that. Okay, I think I've said enough. I appreciate your viewership. I'm grateful I get to do this video every week. You know what, I did have some pictures this week, but I don't know if I want to share them, and that's okay. But anyway, I hope you have a good week, and I'll hear from you when I do. God bless you.